Do you talk of your honor? Do what I tell you, and immortality awaits you. Villefort fell on his knees. Listen, said he, I have not the strength of mind you have, or rather that which you would not have, if instead of my daughter Valentine your daughter Madeleine were concerned. The doctor turned pale. Doctor, every son of woman is born to suffer and to die. I am content to suffer and to await death. Beware, said M. d'Avrigny, it may come slowly, you will see it approach after having struck your father, your wife, perhaps your son. Villefort, suffocating, pressed the doctor's arm. Listen, cried he, pity me, help me. No, my daughter is not guilty. If you drag us both before a tribunal I will still say, no, my daughter is not guilty, there is no crime in my house. I will not acknowledge a crime in my house, for when crime enters a dwelling, it is like death, it does not come alone. Listen. What does it signify to you if I am murdered? Are you my friend? Are you a man? Have you a heart? No, you are a physician. Well, I tell you I will not drag my daughter before a tribunal, and give her up to the executioner. The bare idea would kill me, would drive me like a madman to dig my heart out with my fingernails. And if you were mistaken, doctor, if it were not my daughter, if I should come one day, pale as a spectre, and say to you, assassin, you have killed my child! Hold, if that should happen, although I am a Christian, M. d'Avrigny, I should kill myself. Well, said the doctor, after a moment's silence, I will wait. Villefort looked at him as if he had doubted his words. Only, continued M. d'Avrigny, with a slow and solemn tone, if anyone falls ill in your house, if you feel yourself attacked, do not send for me, for I will come no more. I will consent to share this dreadful secret with you, but I will not allow shame and remorse to grow and increase in my conscience, as crime and misery will in your house. Then you abandon me, doctor? Yes, for I can follow you no farther, and I only stop at the foot of the scaffold. Some further discovery will be made, which will bring this dreadful tragedy to a close. Adieu. I entreat you, doctor? All the horrors that disturb my thoughts make your house odious and fatal. Adieu, sir. One single word more, doctor. You go, leaving me in all the horror of my situation, after increasing it by what you have revealed to me. But what will be reported of the sudden death of the poor old servant? True, said M. d'Avrigny, we will return. The doctor went out first, followed by M. de Villefort. The terrified servants were on the stairs and in the passage where the doctor would pass. Sir, said d'Avrigny to Villefort, so loud that all might hear, poor Barrois has led too sedentary a life of late, accustomed formerly to ride on horseback, or in the carriage, to the four corners of Europe. The monotonous walk around that armchair has killed him, his blood has thickened. He was stout, had a short, thick neck, he was attacked with apoplexy, and I was called in too late. By the way, added he in a low tone, take care to throw away that cup of syrup of violets in the ashes. The doctor, without shaking hands with Villefort, without adding a word to what he had said, went out, amid the tears and lamentations of the whole household. The same evening all Villefort's servants, who had assembled in the kitchen, and had a long consultation, came to tell Madame de Villefort that they wished to leave. No entreaty, no proposition of increased wages, could induce them to remain. To every argument they replied, we must go, for death is in this house. They all left, in spite of prayers and entreaties, testifying their regret at leaving so good a master and mistress, and especially Mademoiselle Valentine, so good, so kind, and so gentle. Villefort looked at Valentine as they said this. She was in tears, and, strange as it was, in spite of the emotions he felt at the sight of these tears, he looked also at Madame de Villefort, and it appeared to him as if a slight gloomy smile had passed over her thin lips, like a meteor seen passing inauspiciously between two clouds in a stormy sky. Chapter 81. The Room of the Retired Baker. The evening of the day on which the Count of Mercer had left Danglars House with feelings of shame and anger at the rejection of the projected alliance, Andrea Cavalcanti, with curled hair, mustaches in perfect order, and white gloves which fitted admirably, had entered the courtyard of the banker's house in La Chaussee d'Antin. He had not been more than 10 minutes in the drawing room before he drew Danglars aside into the recess of a bow window, and, after an ingenious preamble, related to him all his anxieties and cares since his noble father's departure. He acknowledged the extreme kindness which had been shown him by the banker's family, in which he had been received as a son, and where, besides, his warmest affections had found an object on which to center in Mademoiselle Danglars. Danglars listened with the most profound attention. He had expected this declaration for the last 2 or 3 days, and when at last it came his eyes glistened as much as they had lowered on listening to Mercier. He would not, however, yield immediately to the young man's request, but made a few conscientious objections. "Are you not rather young, Andrea, to think of marrying?" "I think not, sir," replied M. Cavalcanti. "In Italy the nobility generally marry young." "Life is so uncertain, that we ought to secure happiness while it is within our reach." "Well, sir," said Danglars, "in case your proposals, which do me honor, are accepted by my wife and daughter, by whom shall the preliminary arrangements be settled?" "So important a negotiation should, I think, be conducted by the respective fathers of the young people." "Sir, my father is a man of great foresight and prudence. Thinking that I might wish to settle in France, he left me at his departure, together with the papers establishing my identity, a letter promising, if he approved of my choice, 150,000 livres per annum from the day I was married." "So far as I can judge, I suppose this to be a quarter of my father's revenue." "I," said Danglars, "have always intended giving my daughter 500,000 francs as her dowry. She is, besides, my sole heiress." "All would then be easily arranged if the Baroness and her daughter are willing." "We should command an annuity of 175,000 livres. Supposing, also, I should persuade the Marquis to give me my capital, which is not likely, but still is possible, we would place these 2 or 3 millions in your hands, whose talent might make it realize 10%.